Oh, what an adventure! Get lost with Google Maps. Good morning, everybody on YouTube who is watching this video. We are at Miller's Point Reserve. It's a Shire run camping spot. They charge $10 per person per night, which I think is a little bit expensive. In the national park we're at before this, they charge $16 a vehicle per night, which is more fair. Could you imagine pulling in here with two adults and, you know, a total of 7 people? Yeah, in a vehicle, you know, counting your kids, a bit expensive. But anyway, it's very smelly from all the rotting seaweed, and when we first pulled in here it was very overpowering. We did get bogged. Now this is supposed to be for 2-wheel drives, which is what this vehicle is, and I had the tyre pressure down to 25 psi on the drive tyres, which in hindsight I probably should have let down to 15. But remember, this is meant to be for 2-wheel drives. I had no problem coming up through here. I had, when I come around the loop here, I had absolutely no problems at all. Yes, it's sandy, but if you have a look, they've got gravel. If you have a look, you can see the gravel, so it's got a gravel base to it, and we were meant to camp down there, and you can see the gravel coming up and it goes down, but apparently it's extremely thin, because our car just sunk straight to the diff, didn't it, dear? I got in there just about to where I was going, and boom, down it went. There wasn't any warning, it just went straight down. And once I was through the hard, as you can see, we did a lot of digging and diff dragging, and we used the tracks. I'll show you those in a minute. And the car just wasn't coming out, okay? It just kept on, you can see it just kept on churning up the gravel. It's that thin, it just kept on chewing into the gravel. It just wasn't coming out. Indeed, we had to dig the tracks out. That's how deep it was. And you can see the gravel all through here, okay? There is meant to be gravel. This is meant to be gravelled area for 2-wheel drives. That's not. That's beach access for a boat trailer. So my wife, who's sitting over there, went and seen the camp host and said, look, I need to winch out, I need to hook to a tree, and he come down, and so I hooked to that tree there and put a tree strap on and returned the winch line to the car, so it was only half the weight of the pull spread over the front winch points of the vehicle. And the winch was brilliant. It just winched straight out, no problems at all. It was absolutely brilliant. But he come down, he said normally I'd just give you a tow out, but he's got a Ford 4-wheel drive and the front diff shit itself, which is quite common. We had an old Rodeo that used to do the same thing. I replaced 2 diffs in that before I got rid of it. But yeah, I mean, it's very smelly here. It's quite attractive. Miller's Point Reserve we're at. On which river? Pellingup Inlet, which is the inlet to the Pellingup River. Alright. So, yeah, I mean, the winch, everything paid for itself yesterday. We weren't stuck. It didn't take us long to get out. and it all worked well. Let's go and have a look at these tracks that we got to help us get out, and they didn't really work too well. You can see the black over them from the tyres, but you can see the knobbles just ripped straight off, and I wasn't spinning the wheels or anything drastic like that. I was using slow, gentle applied force, as much force as I needed to get out, and yeah, the tracks just were a failure. We used all 4 of them, and they're all pretty damaged. You can see even up here there's knobbles missing, you know. All the way down you can see the sort of damage. I don't know, we might have to look at getting some a different type. These weren't that cheap. They're meant to be for 10-ton vehicles, which, as you all know, is way overkill for the weight of the Mahindra. But that's what I do. I tend to go over spec with gear. And yeah, they were just, look, they weren't much help at all, okay? They just kept sinking along with the car. It's got no bottom, that bit of sand there. I have seen sand like it before, where you just go down no matter what you do. And a winch is the only way out. But yeah. So that was the start of our, that was on the first day. It blew like a gale all yesterday. It's nice and calm today. However, it did start to rain. Look, do I recommend this camp spot? Yeah, they need to look at their pricing. For larger groups. And they also need to do some serious gravel work if they want to get 2-wheel drives in here. Because, you know, 2-wheel drives, even with a limited slip diff, only drive off 1 wheel at a time. And the Mahindra's got a rear diff lock, as you can see. Both wheels were driving, but there was just no grip under the vehicle. There was no grip, even with the tracks. It just kept pushing them down. We had to dig the tracks out. That's how deep they went down. And you can see the trailer didn't go down. It backed in nice and gentle into the camp spot. But by golly, yeah, as soon as the ute broke through, that was the end of it. And I got all the way back to there, then the ute broke through, and I just couldn't get it back up on top again. With the engine power, I had to actually just let the engine idle and just use the winch to pull it out without using the gears at all, because it was just all it wanted to do was dig its way in. Anyway, that was our fun for yesterday. Today we're just sitting down. We might wander around a bit. It is a beautiful spot down here. You do get used to the rotten seaweed smell. The marsh flies or horse flies or whatever you want to call them do tend to have a bit of a drinking problem and tend to latch onto your leg pretty well, or your arm or your neck or any other part of your body. And the mosquitoes this morning, while there was no wind, were a little bit on the savage side, but you expect that being here. The camp host is a really nice old man, and yeah, I mean, we went and got him because I needed to hook to this tree, and I did use a tree strap and all the right gear, and I think it's the first time he's seen a winch, because he said, "Oh, that strap's not long enough." I said, "No, this is to protect the tree, mate." It was, and he was quite amazed when I set it all up, and the ute just popped out, and We drove it up there where we are now, and yeah, now I'm going to reinflate the tyres because it's pretty good from there down, and we're leaving tomorrow. We booked here for 2 nights. They do have toilets over there. I don't know what they're like. There was a generator running over there earlier on. It doesn't, you can't see anybody. You can't see the people. There are other people here. But we've got our little camp here. We've got our toilet. We've both had a quick shower this morning. The hot water system's brilliant, isn't it? It's just working really, really good. Everything's working brilliantly. Yeah, it's all good. It was a bit of a bother yesterday though, wasn't it? We didn't expect to sink down and keep on going, did we?
No, you panicked a bit.
I panicked a bit. Thank you. There you go, people. You got it from my wife. I panicked a bit. But once I got the winch gear out and all set up and rigged, it was easy. When you don't expect to get bogged. Because we don't drive on beaches and stuff like that, because it is only a 2-wheel drive. It does have a diff lock and it is good in sand, but I don't usually go asking for problems. But yeah, just be mindful of where they tell you to camp if you're only in a 2-wheel drive, okay? That's my advice for this site here. Alright, hope you enjoy this video, everyone. My wife should have some photos to go on the end of it, hopefully. And I don't know if we're going to do another one or not. We have been camping with friends, so there's not many videos this trip, I'm sorry, but I just don't want to invade on everyone's privacy. Alright, keep safe everyone. Bye for now.